I am back. Yes, I'm back. So, I didn't chime in yesterday because I had things to do. But, usually I chime in on Sundays because usually that's another rest day for me. But it didn't happen yesterday, and it's okay. So, I thought I'd chime in today and share with you guys my dramalanis because you know my life, right? My life got dramalanis. I got drama, or I got concerns and stuff like that. But some may say trying to still be relevant. Whatever. Nah, nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever told me trying to stay relevant. It's just like chime in every now and then because I guess people think that I say interesting shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I do. So I'm not sick. So something interesting happened, okay? And it was on the internet. And it opened my eyes. I don't know if any of you guys went through this. There's a lot of interesting things that's happening on the internet with me, and I like that argument with that one male female person who hid behind whatever profile about her position on what the fuck, Palestine, or I don't know, I forget already. That's how disinterested I was, and how much like whatever she had to say really didn't resonate in my brain. It meant really nothing. I can't even remember what the fuck we were arguing about, really. That's how you know they didn't make a really huge impact on me. They made an impact on my emotion, but not enough to be stuck in my brain, whatever topic it was, So, yeah, that was one. All I remember is Jamalani. Like, if I remember, I can't even remember that person's name, but all I remember is Jamalani. So every time we think about that scenario, the first thing that pops into my head, word drama, Dramalani, Dramalani queen. So I met another Dramalani queens, plural, Sissa. And there was a Dramalani king too. So I think there were there was 2 Dramalani kings and a bunch of Dramalani queens. And so I was like, holy fucking jackpot, man, if I like drama. I reached the jackpot with this one. But I don't. I don't. So, I'm just going to go with the flow of it. And then after a while, I was like, you know what? I am blocking you guys because obviously you guys are projecting your guys' own like mental trauma on me, and I don't need that. So there was a person who posted a page that posted, if I made dinner, then you're going to eat what I made, It's either you eat what I make or, you can just not eat at all. Okay. And I understand when I look at that, I say, oh, you know what? In life, you're not going to get, everything's not going to go your way, like all the time. In life, you're going to come across those disappointments. In life, you're going to have expectations that are not going to be met. And in life, not everything goes your way, and understanding that concept begins at home. All the little things that we do with our kids at home. So like dinner, if you cook dinner, I mean, we all have a picky child, or we were the picky child, right? But for those of you who had parents that said, what I make is what you eat, that's the first lesson in life that tells you not everything's gonna go your way. If your parents made spaghetti and you wanted to eat steak, they made spaghetti, you eat the spaghetti because they made the spaghetti, right? Maybe they make steak 2 days after that or a day after that, I don't know, the next day. But just seeing that it's a lesson in it. And that's what I responded that there is a lesson in it, and that you cannot always get your way, and that I agree with this person that what you make is what they eat. There is a lesson in it. It's a good lesson. And those who want, if they can work towards whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? So if they want to eat steak, then they can ask, can we have steak tomorrow? You know? And then, you know, it depends on the parents' teaching style, whatever, however they do it. And it has nothing to do with my parenting style, okay? Because if you guys haven't noticed, I like cooking. I'm on that freaking thing for the Food Network, cooking, trying to win that cooking position so that I can so I can experience new things. But I generally like cooking, and I'm good at it too. So no, baking is a whole nother animal for me. I can't bake. I can bake. I'm always slightly off, you know. Except for the focaccia, I got that. I nailed that bad boy, and the challah, I'm getting there. But I'm not a great baker, but cooking is not a problem. And for my household, you know, I make meals because I know my household. Okay, I know what to make and what not to make. Okay, now these fucking ladies and these two guys. Okay, oh shit, man, I had the freaking biggest ass. If my fucking blood pressure didn't go up with their responses, I was freaking flipping the fuck out when I was listening to them. When I was reading their responses, I was like, I thought this was like a happy homemaker page. I didn't know this was Psychoville. This is fucking Psychoville. Like, I'm looking at the post, I'm looking at the title of the post, and I'm thinking, oh, these are all happy homemakers. Yay, okay. Yeah, I'll write it down. I'll interact with this page. I don't interact with every page, okay? So I interacted with that page, and oh my fucking goodness, all the freaking mental health issues started showing, and I went, how in the fuck did this happen? Where I agree with this person's post about, you know, if I cook it, what I made is what you eat. You don't like it, you cannot eat, you know. It's not relevant to my household. It's not fucking relevant to me. I never went through that shit, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I don't know, maybe at a young age I understood that my parents, oh, you know, I appreciated and loved everything. I was this happy little fucking kid, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, I am a simple heart, you know, I'm a fucking simple heart. For me, like, I don't get that back talk shit from my kid, you know? So I don't know, you know, but apparently some of these ladies on that freaking page was abused badly. Like, they were freaking abused. Like, one lady said, she accused me, okay? And I understand she's projecting her own experiences on what I posted, but, you know, what I posted in my post, oh my fucking God. So, we were getting a good laugh at them this morning, okay? But one lady, the first lady, okay, the one who set the fucking pace for everybody else, she responded with, when I was a little girl, I don't believe that women, that children should be force fed, and you know, my mother, she, her mom, not my mom, her mom, she was like, her mom shoved soft-boiled eggs and forced her to eat soft-boiled eggs every fucking morning, knowing that she hated soft-boiled eggs. So the first thing that came to mind was soft-boiled eggs. Are you from a little more upper-class family? Okay, either you're from Nihongo, you're from Japan, because Japan loves soft-boiled eggs, but not in the morning. They scramble their tamago, okay? They make tamago omelet, all right? Just saying. But soft-boiled egg is a thing. It's a real thing. You know, Asians love soft-boiled eggs in Japan, and in Korea. Not so much China, but I was like, okay, soft-boiled eggs. That sounds like a more middle upper class kind of family type of morning breakfast. So I'm like, ugh. Fucking soft-boiled, but I can't see someone's mother shoving soft-boiled eggs down their daughter's throat, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, holy fucking shit. Did I say that I forced anyone, my kid, to eat shit. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that said that. Nothing in my comment that said that. Nothing in my comment that said that. If it were people that knew me and they were making those false accusations about me, people who know me would know that they're fucking stupid, because I'm not like that. Matter of fact, when it comes to the dynamic of my child, I was a teacher for 8+ years, and every now and then I go back and I teach. So, you know, when it comes to, you know, child dynamics and shit like that, and I taught every level. I'm not teaching right now. I'm not teaching right now, okay? So don't get me mixed up with other people. Because I do have family members that do teach, are still teaching. But I'm not teaching right now. But I was a teacher. That was my, and I do go back every now and then. You know, I'll go back and teach every now and then, you know. So I know how to work with kids, you know what I'm saying? It's not a problem with me, you know. I'm not an abusive parent. It like, their mental health just went fucking left wing, and I was like, holy fucking shit, man. Do you guys comprehend what the hell I just said? And I was like, how did this get from apples to kiwi? You know, I'm talking about apples. These motherfuckers are taking it all the way to kiwi. You know what I'm saying? They're taking it down to freaking New Zealand and back. Even New Zealand probably wouldn't want to fucking deal with their asses. And I was like, what in the shit? Okay, all right. I think I need a Tylenol now. I think I should chew the Tylenol before I swallow. That's how big of a headache I had. So I'm reading their shit, and I'm like, every single one of these, there were only, like, I say 7. Maybe 7 or 10. 7 or 10 people, women, and one male, who understood what I was saying. They understood what the fuck I was saying. And they were like, yeah, I agree with you. And one of them was honest enough to say, yeah, you know what? The way you worded it was just, but I understand what you're saying. And I was like, oh, thank God there's some sane people on top of this page. And the rest of them, oh my God, like, their trauma was coming out. Part of me, I feel bad for them. I do. I'm like, oh, I feel so bad for you. I just, you know, I hope everything gets better for you in your brain, you know, in your mind. And the other part of me was like, what, you fucking stupid bitch? What did you just say? What the fuck did you just tell me? What? All right. You know, and I was like thinking about it this morning after I brought it up, and I was like, oh my God, this is just crazy. You can see the mental health coming out, the mental trauma coming out, because they're just projecting themselves on me, on my response. And some of them I did respond, because I was like, you know what, at first I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to respond to some of them. And then after a while I was reading it, and I was like, I'm not even going to respond to your stupidity. Yeah, you're just stupid. There was this one, they're all from, why are they the good majority of the females that had like really bad responses. I mean, and I'm talking about really, I rolled my eyes so far back, I fucking seen my brains, okay? But they're from, I think they're from England? Yeah, and I was like, I considered your country educated and smart. But with the responses that I seen, I was like, girl, I think the Bronx is fucking smarter than you, girl. And, well, they actually are. But I can't think of, locally, I can't compare them to anybody that I know. Because, you know, I was like flipping out. I was like, whoa. I don't even want to respond to this one. She's kind of off. Not kind of. She's like way off. And so, to preserve my mental health and to keep whatever heebie-jeebies they got on them, to keep whatever, I'm not, whatever thing they have, I'm pretty sure it's contagious. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want any of it. Don't want any of it on me. No. Keep it. So blocked. Block you, and all your new profiles that you have. Block. No. Don't share your, I don't want any of their, they need to see a therapist. And that's what I said. But I can see all the mental health issues going on here, and you need to see a therapist. That's it. You guys really need to talk about this. And I wasn't being sarcastic. I was being serious. There's sometimes, people say things like that and sarcasm, and they're like, ha 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 ha, I'm just gonna poke fun at mental health. I don't poke fun at mental health. I see the mental trauma that they're spewing out, and it's saturating that whole fucking thread. And I'm like, you all really, not all. There's about 10 of you guys who are sane in the brain, and then got some of you who are just obnoxious motherfuckers. But the ones that really, there are some of them in there that they're letting out their trauma, and I'm like, no, you need to get healed. Like, you really need to get healed. They need to get healed. First of all, when you're on the internet and somebody makes a comment that your ass don't like, just scroll. Oh, I don't agree with that. Just scroll. Just scroll. If you really don't like it, report the shit. You know what I'm saying? And if you report it, and Facebook tells you there's nothing wrong with what they said, it's still in the regulation. It's still in the jurisdiction of our community rules. Then that means what you should have did was scroll. Just scroll on. Just scroll. Fuck. I understand we have trolls. Okay. But freaking, some of them really had some mental instability. And I was debating, I was thinking, should I delete that post? Because their trauma could trigger someone else's stupidity, and they are an example for somebody out there who is dealing with some mental, like some past trauma, mama, daddy issues, and it might just fucking trigger them. So I'm wondering, should I delete it, or would that make me look like a bitch? Should I delete it? Or would that make me look like, I can't stand my fucking ground? So I'm like, debating. Should I do it? Should I not? And then I said, you know what? I'm going to give it one more day to stay up. Just so that they can read my response. And then I'm going to delete that shit. But it's also a lesson for me. Next time, just scroll. Because the intention behind my remark was not to trigger anybody's past trauma. It's just when you teach your child some disappointments, it prepares them for real life. Where better to learn a disappointment than at home? You don't force feed your child at all. These women that were making some of the responses, it sounds like they came from an abusive home. And nobody should be force-fed. Nobody should be force-fed. But it is good to say no to your child. You don't want to keep giving them everything that they want. You don't want to do that. Why? Because you're going to set them up to get really disappointed when they go to school. When they go to school and somebody tells them no, or the teacher, you're going to have problems. Because they're going to throw a fucking huge tantrum in the classroom. So teach them the word no. Teach them not today. Teach them those words. Because if not, you're going to find your fucking kid standing out protesting for shit that is very minor. You're going to find them protesting and doing and throwing tantrums for things that they shouldn't be doing. You know, for stupid things, you know. You don't want to raise a child that doesn't know how to accept the word no, not today. You don't want to raise a child that has no manners either. Like, if your child were invited to someone's to a dinner and that child, you know, didn't want to eat that, at least they'll know, because at home you taught them, at least they'll know to take at least several bites and then be excused, instead of looking at you and saying, I'm not eating this, I want chicken nuggets, in front of all the guests. That's embarrassing. See, that's embarrassing. That's no manners. You teach your child manners at home. You teach them all the etiquettes at home. And if you are a parent that allows your child to have everything and gives your child everything without teaching them the word no and not today, then you're going to have a fucking huge ass fucking problem when they become a teenager. Because teenage years is when they want to do all kinds of ridiculous ass shit. They want to dress a certain way. They want to act a certain way. They want to eat certain things. They want to go certain places. And if they're not accustomed to the word no, not today, no, we're not doing that, then they're going to throw a big ass tantrum. And it's okay, and it's kind of cute when they do it when they're like small, you know, 2-3 years old, you know, oh, look at them, they're so upset. But when you have a 16, 14, 13-year-old reading your ass off in front of everybody because they didn't get their way, that's a fucking embarrassment and a failure on a parent's on the parents' end. So those little things that these women were just going off about, it has nothing to do with their situation. It has to do with teaching your child manners. Teaching your child the word no, because that's exactly what's going to happen when they get older. No matter what socioeconomic class you fall in. You could be very extremely rich. You're going to have somebody that's not as rich want to tell you no to freaking destroy your ass. You know what I'm saying? So if you're already accustomed to the no, you can take it with grace. No, okay, I understand. Okay, let's move on. Okay, you know, but if you have a child that you overindulge and you spoiled, and every time they said, oh, I don't want that, and you know, compromise in a sense where, no, not compromise, that's not one compromise, so you just give them what they want. Then when they become a teenager, you're going to have a major ass problem on your hand. You're going to have a major problem on your hand. You will. I know parents who indulge in their first child, and then when the child went to school, oh, good Lord. Tantrums. I know those who work with their kid, and they never told them no, and then when the child became a teenager, they're like, fuck you, mom, I'm gonna get this and I want it now. You see that shit on top of the videos and the threads. Okay, for me, that's not gonna sit well with me. But then again, I know better than to set my ass up in that situation. You teach them the etiquette and you teach them manners at a young age while you're raising them. Now, the no's, all those little things, the things that, you know, every parent wants to overindulge in their child and give them whatever they want. You know, that's an objective for every parent. Can every parent do it? No. Should every parent do it? No. Even if you can, don't do it. You know why? Because when you do that, you set them up for failure. You set yourself up for failure too. You set your child up for failure because they don't know how to take, 1, rejection. They don't know how to 2, comply to rules. They don't know how to 3, take it with grace. Accept it with grace. And then they don't know how to react after that, which is accepting it with grace. So if you teach them now those Though if you teach them that at home, you'll see the reaction, but you can correct it. And when you correct it, you don't go freaking butt crazy like that some of those women's parents. The parents was force feeding them guys their children. That's a big no-no. You don't ever force feed your child. When you don't want to take your child's power away. I mean, like you don't want to take their security away. You don't. You want to empower your child as much as you can. Let them know that they're supported and they're loved and that they have a voice. You want to instill that confidence in them that, hey, if I speak, I have a voice. That's where, if they don't get what they want, then you can say, hey, you know what? We can't have it tonight, but I can make it tomorrow if that's what you want. How about that? But you have to eat what you have to eat your food tonight. You can say things like that. So at least they know, hey, you know what? I can ask mom to do it tomorrow. Oh, I can ask dad to do it if we can have it. You give them those options, yes, but also give them the no. No, not tonight. This is what we're eating tonight. Oh, but mom, and encourage them. Encourage them to negotiate. Business 101. Teach them early. Encourage them to negotiate with you. I tried to teach my own child that, but you know what? She's just extremely. I was blessed. God is so good. God is super, super good. And I know like a lot of you guys are blessed with that one child that is like, they love you so much that whatever you do, they'll be like, okay, okay. I don't want to eat that tonight, but okay. Can we have something else tomorrow? So I teach my child to bring up, if she doesn't like something, then say something. You don't like it, that's fine. If you don't want to eat it, that's fine. But, that's what I made tonight. I never had that problem, honestly. If she doesn't want to do something, that's fine. She doesn't want to go to the gym with me, that's fine. Okay? That's fine, but you also have to consider your health too. You got to start moving and walking. You have to start, exercising, because your body is a blessing and a gift from God. And God, you are required to take care of it. When you present it back to God, how do you want to present it back? To Him? So that's something that we're working on. But the no is okay. A no is okay. Compromises, negotiations are okay. But they have to learn how to receive a no. They have to learn how to receive a no. They have to also learn in that whole dynamic how to follow rules. We have a lot of unruly individuals in the community that come from really okay homes. They didn't come from homes that were like impoverished at all. They came from homes with parents who had really great jobs. They were raised in a good environment, but they suck at social dynamics and following rules and following laws when they get older. And it's because if you listen to the rest of this stupid ass parents that said just give them what they want, no, fuck you. Fuck that. No, I don't want. No, fuck that. That's not going to happen. I have rules in my home, which my child would abide by. You teach your kid not to abide by rules, and you teach your fucking kid how to throw a tantrum when they hear the word no. You tell me how that goes, all right? Because when that bondsman start fucking knocking at your door asking where the hell is his money, then your ass can remember what I just said. I should have teach them the word no, or how to abide by rules. Man, I tell you, no is a good word. It teaches them how to receive the no, but also how to give someone the word no. If they don't want something, those who don't hear the word no enough do not know how to say no, and they don't know how to receive a no. That's why it's good to teach your child no, not tonight. No. And then also, give them the opportunity to negotiate. Say, hey, you know what, maybe we can do it, I will I will teach. I taught her how to negotiate. You don't want to negotiate with me? You want to maybe ask mommy if I can make it tomorrow? Maybe ask. I mean, don't just take the no. If you really want something, don't just take the no. Don't take the no. If you really want something, go for it. If you want that, then negotiate with me. You know, ask me if we can do it tomorrow. Ask me if we can do it on Friday. Ask me, you know, negotiation. Teach them those things. Teach them that their words have power. Teach them that they have that power to receive what they want. But you got to instill that in them, because, you know, off the bat, they ain't going to know. So teaching them the word no is not an unhealthy thing. Not teaching them no, to me, I think is unhealthy. You don't teach them how to say no. They learn from you when you say no. No, not today. I'm making this. This is what we're having for dinner. No, okay, you can eat it. You can take it or leave it. Personally, because I know what my household likes. I know what my child likes, what she does and does not like. Then I create a menu that she would eat. So it's rare that she ever doesn't want to eat what I make. And I am one who likes to make a diversity of meal types. You know, I'm talking about local Hawaiian, Asian, freaking anywhere around the fucking world. I'm making it. Greek chicken, lemon chicken, freaking Mediterranean, hummus, freaking whatever, you know. Whatever, you know, Chinese food. Why are you gonna go take out? Why are we getting takeout? I can make it all. Japanese, yeah, sure. Korean, of course. You know, whatever you want to eat. Polynesian, yeah. Hawaiian, Fijian, Samoan, Tahitian, whatever the heck you want. Want hamburgers and fries? I can make that too. I would rather make my own anyway. Mine tastes better. So, you know, it's just gastronomy meals that I'm like, okay, cool. We got some science here. But anyways, honestly, please, people, if you find yourself in the middle of an argument with someone, actually before you start arguing with them, read what they wrote. Oh, fudge. Just take the time to read what they wrote. For me, before I respond to anyone, I read what they write, and I read what they write again. Because if I'm going to respond to it, then I want to be sure that I'm on track with that person. Because the last thing you want is to be the one that's off track completely and responding to someone and everyone else reads your shit. I mean, either that, well, there was a couple times that I did that, but I went back and I edited it because I was like, whoa, I'm off. I don't want to be the dumb one. So that was like crazy, you know. Some people, and then it reminded me that, hey, not all of us were raised with raised the same. There's some people who are out there that have had abusive parents or are abusive parents. And so it was the internet that actually opened my mind to how I interact with people. Actually, no. It was the military that gave me patience and taught me diversity. Prior to that, I was in a very controlled, not controlled in a negative way, but, you know, closed, very closed-minded, you know, because integrated in my community is a certain way, not knowing that out there is other things, you know. So the military, when I got shipped off to the military, I seen diversity. And that gave me patience and understanding a little more to differences. But the internet, that showed me that you got to be careful with who you interact with. It was the internet and working for mental health. yeah, working for mental health, for the field of in the field of mental health, that really opened my eyes, because I was like, before I would be very confrontational. You know, you wanna push, I'll shove. But now it's like I'm so calm and so chill, because it's like, you work in mental health, you have no idea that there is someone next to you who looks completely sane, but they're 2 clicks away from committing a fucking homicide. And they walk around and you have no idea that that sane person, they look sane, they look fine, is like one argument away from stabbing someone. And so it was just that, working with the field of mental health, that was like, you know what, there's some arguments that are just not meant to happen. There are some confrontations that really don't need to happen. And there are some people that you really need to just ignore. You know, there's some people that, you know, they do some really questionable, not, if it's against the law, then you better, you know, call HP, call the police department, turn it in, you know. If somebody is beating someone senseless, I mean, I personally, I would intercede, you know, I would help. I wouldn't just take out my phone and start filming, because you could save a life, you know, and a life is more precious than views. Matter of fact, if you don't save them, then it will teach people how to accept death and watch people die. And that's why it's important that, hey, if you're going to film something, like, it would be better for you to hold the camera and try to pull the person off. At least you look like a hero, right? You can get your views. But anyways, it's better to save a life than to have those views, you know? It's better to save a life. Value life first before you value your views. Or have somebody film you saving the person. You know, you can get plenty of views when you save people. Trust me. You're gonna get a lot of views when you save people. But if you just film and you watch people get hurt, then, you know, you're a piece of shit too. So but yeah, like, the mental health was just seeping out on that thread, and I'm still contemplating whether I should delete it. We already talked about that. I'm deleting it maybe tomorrow. But gosh, people, if you see, just from my experience, just that alone, I'm just, you know, I don't know about interacting too much with people on the internet anymore. Fuck that. Unless it's on my page, you know. Because, man, there are so many people that are sad and abused out there. There's so many people that are sad, abused. There's so many people that are hurting out there. And for those of you that are hurting out there, I'm so sorry you guys went through that. Like, some of you ladies, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm on your radar already. And if you're watching right now, and if that was any of you ladies that made those remarks and shared, you know, your story of your trauma, I am so sorry that you went through whatever you went through. You know, I'm so sorry. And if I triggered you, I apologize. You know, my posts are not meant to trigger people and bring out, you know, feelings that you don't want to feel. And I can see why you came on so strong and you defended whatever your belief was. And hey, I believe that your intentions are right. And the fact that you shared it and you opposed what you thought I was saying, then I applaud you, because that's what we need in this life. We need people who would say, hey, that's not right. But I didn't say what you guys were saying. I didn't say what you guys were saying. I never said anything about force feeding anybody. No. But I can see your guys' passion. I can see your passions, and you sticking up for the little child that you were today. You know, as a grown woman, you sticking up for that, for yourself, that little child that was abused when they were younger. As a woman now today, good job. Outstanding job. Keep doing that. Keep fighting for the for that little girl that was being abused by their mother. You keep standing up for that little girl that you were before, and all for all the little girls that may be going, or even the boys that may be going through those situations. You know, your voice is important. You know, but the only thing is, make sure you guys make sure that you guys are drilling the right person. Make sure you're drilling the right person. Because when those ladies came at me, I was like reading what they thought in their mind, and what I said, no clicky. It's not the same. It's that right there, that's putting words into someone else's mouth, and that's not what I was saying. I was not saying that. But I will say this, that if I say that the fact that you guys were fighting against abuse, outstanding. Great job. Good job. That's what you need to do to the right person. Like I said, outstanding job, ladies. Just do it to the right person. Do it to the right person. But you guys did good. Just do it to the right person. You guys are doing it to the wrong person. I'm on your side. But I also think that a lot of you guys, hey, take the time out to when you're having these episodes and flashbacks of abuse, okay, when you're having these flashbacks and episodes of abuse, and you about to blow up on someone, call 988. Call 988. 988 is a crisis line. All right. And so the crisis line is not just for suicide. The crisis line is not just for suicide. It is for if you are having an episode where you feel like you're about to have a meltdown. You feel like you're about to have a meltdown and a breakdown, call 988. And you have no one to talk to. Even if you do have someone to talk to and you don't want to confide in them at that moment, then go ahead and call 988. So how do I know about this line, this 988 line? It's because I was one of the advocates to request the funding for that 988 line when I went up to Washington, D.C. And we were able to lock in the funding for that 988 line. And so being that I know what it's about, I would like to share that with those of you who shared your abuse. Because I already know I'm on your radar. You're probably watching me right now. And it's cool. But don't pull any stunts, because your ass going to end up in jail. But that 988 number, when you get triggered, okay, so all those women who had your trauma, when you get triggered like that again, before writing it down on your comments or commenting on someone and like totally blasting them out, call the 988 number if you feel super triggered. If you feel super triggered, or okay, another one is you're having a bad day. You're having an extremely bad day where you just want to punch a motherfucker's face. Call the 988 number. Call it. It's a crisis line. Crisis can mean suicide prevention, suicide, but crisis can also mean you're about to punch a motherfucker's face. And you don't want to. You want to keep yourself out of jail. So if you are at that point where life is just coming down on you and you are about to act out in a way in violence, call the 988 number. Bro, you can yell, shit, scream, say all the stupid ass shit that you want to say that you can't say to a person's face on that line. And you ain't gonna get thrown in jail because it's gonna keep you from going to jail. Matter of fact, that crisis line You can, if you feel the need to vent, go ahead. If you're sad because you had a breakup and you really need someone to talk to because you are heartbroken and you feel like you're going to harm yourself or could harm someone else, then go ahead and call that 9888 number. 988 number. Go ahead and call the crisis line. You know, there are things that happen to some of you all out there, and it's heavy. It's heavy and it's hard to bear. And when it gets to that point where you feel like you are about to commit a violent act, or where you feel like you're about to harm yourself, or you feel like it's just too damn heavy and you can't talk to anyone else around you, call the 988 number. Call the crisis hotline. But I mean, it's quicker to dial 988. Call 988 and just vent away. They're going to ask you a few questions. Don't get phobic about it, because they're going to ask you questions that they ask everyone else. The question's going to be your name. You don't need to give your full name. Just give maybe your first name, where you are, and what you're wearing. That's it. The reason why what you're wearing is because, you know, if you, in the case you do hurt yourself and they send someone to, you know, to help you or prevent you from, you know, harming yourself, at least they know what you're wearing, you know. They want to save you. No, you're not going to jail. If you even if you were to say that motherfucker, I want to punch his face, you're not going to jail. It's like free therapy. Okay? It's free therapy. But if you say, you know, I'm about to jump off the river, you know what I'm saying, then they're going to try and save you, because your life is worth living. So people, those ladies, I feel for you. I really feel for you. I feel for everyone who's been abused out there, whatever type of abuse you may be going through, or may have gone through. It's sad that, you know, abuse does happen in this world. It happens, you know, and sometimes you gotta talk about it so that you can heal from it and you can move forward in your life. The best way to move forward in any of those things and break away from that bondage is by talking about it. You know, if you can't talk about it to the people around you because maybe you overexhausted your resources or your ears, then you can always go to a clergy. You can always go to a church, and you can talk to a pastor, priest, whatever. You can even just walk into a random church, like a random Catholic church, make an appointment with the priest and talk to him too. Make an appointment, or you can even, if you've seen a sister, you can, you know, pull her aside and start talking to her too. You can ask them questions. Any religious person, rabbi, same thing. Especially the rabbis, they're very passionate. They're very understanding. Reverend, minister, you can talk to them. A lot of you guys are not utilizing the resources that you really need, you know. And even if you don't believe in that religion, especially when it comes to Christianity, Judaism, they don't care whether you're the same religion or not. You could be a Buddhist and ask them, hey, you know, I need someone to talk to. I need some, you know, guidance here. They would take the time to talk to you. They will take the time to listen to you. You know, and if you are Buddhist or Shinto, then, I mean, I'm pretty sure you have someone that you can talk to, to your own spiritual guides. But it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or you are, you know, part of that, part of Judaism. It doesn't matter if you are part of any one of those any one of those major religions. It don't matter, because that would be something that is very welcoming for every single one of them. Every pastor, every priest, every reverend, every rabbi, every minister, that you come to them with your burdens, they would be so glad to help you carry that burden. it is a blessing to help carry or help lift up someone's burden. So utilize your resources. You can't talk to people around you because you overexhausted your resources, your ears, and people just don't want to hear it anymore. Or maybe you're ashamed. Then you have all these different resources, spiritual people in this that aren't going to tell you, hey, give me $50. Oh, hey, that was $125. You know, you have that resources. Go and seek them out, or just, you know, walk to a church, a Christian church or Catholic church, or, you know, even a rabbi. If you see a rabbi walking around, ask him, it'll be nice. You can even call 988 if you just want someone to listen. You want someone to listen, you basically tell them what you want. I just need to vent. Give it up. Just let loose. And if you need advice, just say, what would you do? You know, they will offer your advice. Would you like to hear, you know, what I would do? You know, they'll say something like that, you know. What I would do is I would XYZ. You know, but these are options that you can take or not. You know, how I know is because I was given the opportunity to actually work in that division. So you're not getting secondhand information. I'm giving you firsthand information. You know, you're going through crisis. You're going through a hard day. You're going through a point in life where, you know, you're leveling up, elevating, changing, the winds are turning, things are getting bad, you're confused, you're hurt, you're sad, you're depressed, you don't have anyone to turn to, you just broke up with someone, and, you know, you love them very much, or you're in a relationship, the fucking family hates your ass, and you love him or you love her, and then you can feel the rejection coming on. If you can't talk to someone that you know, or your family, your friends around you, or the community members, because there is such of a thing called isolated around people. You can be in an environment that seems caring, but you can be isolated. It exists. There are people who go through those things where they have a whole society, like a community around them, a tight community, but they're isolated. They can't talk to anybody about the situation, that whatever they're going through. And when you're in that position, then you can call 988 if you're going through some crisis and trauma, and it's burdening you heavily. But if it's something that is lesser than, and you can go ahead and see a clergy person. You can see one of God's leaders. You know, one of God's Christian Judaism leaders. You can see one of God's, you know, you have people out there that you can confide in. And the great thing about every single one of the resources that I named off, they're held to confidentiality. So they're not going to go around telling people about what's going on in your life, because except for the nun, she's not held to confidentiality, but she gives really great advice. Okay, if you guys need that, I'm assuming. But everyone else, priest, pastor, nun, reverend, ministers, I think the rabbi too, they're held to confidentiality, and so is 988. 988 is held to confidentiality unless it is detrimental to someone's life. So you're not alone out there. If you're going through trauma, or if you went through trauma and it's still haunting you, then the best thing for you to do is utilize one of the resources that I gave to you. You know, because it's never a loss, it's always a win. You'll win peace of mind, you'll win a new friend, you'll win new perspectives perhaps, I don't know, but it's better than one eating it up alone, and it's better than fucking blowing up on people because of, you know, past trauma. And I mean this in the kindest way, okay? I mean it in the kindest way. I mean it in the most gentle way. So aside from that, Dramalani, okay, I seen article about China retaliating against our country because of the tariffs, right? So our country is tariffing. Their tariffs against China is, I think, at 145%, 145%, and they're tariffing us about a 125%. So it's climbing, right? And everyone in the financial business is like, no, don't do it. So from certain resources, I heard that if we continue to play this as elevation, or continue to increase our tariffs with China, that China was threatening the US to sell their MBA, which is the mortgage-based securities, okay? And that right there is the US's debt. So if tariffs increase, it may cause China to sell their shares of the US debt, which will bring up requirements to apply for a mortgage to buy a house. Now, we all know that passive income, the best type of passive income comes from real estate, right? And that's why every Tom, Dick, and Harry is trying to get into real estate. That's what is driving up the rent prices, aside from the fact that there's a lot of billionaires, millionaires in certain areas, like Hawaii, the cost of living is so high. People think the cost of living is high because people are getting greedy. No, it's because the value of the properties. We have high value people that live here now. The high value people that live here is what drives up the prices for these properties, for rent, for the cost of living. Now, if China continues to retaliate, or if China retaliates against the US and sells those MBAs, then they sell the US debt. Now, how it affects the mortgage and the real estate is people are going to have a more difficult time purchasing homes. It will mean that the down payment will increase. It would also mean that in order for you to purchase a home and get that loan for the mortgage, it'll demand a higher credit score. So how does that affect our community members? So typical people can't buy homes unless you have a flawless credit score and unless you have enough money to put down the down payment. So I think when I was a loan officer, the percentage was 10, and I'm pretty sure it increased at 18%. I think it increased by 18%, 18 or 20% by now, 20% I think. And I think it was going to increase to 30%. So, it's getting higher anyway. But if China sells their MBAs, which they're probably going to do, then it'll get even higher. Now, what does that mean? I just told you guys what it means. But behind all of that, what that means is people who have more money and people who have a flawless credit score are going to be the only one that can afford buying those homes, which is a good thing. It's a good thing and a bad thing, It's a good thing and a bad thing. It'll make it harder for people who are starting. It's that rags to riches deal. Well, that's not going to happen. Okay, it'll be more of those who have money will be able to continue generating money in real estate. So if China pushes those tariffs, they decide to sell those MBAs, then it'll just make it harder for a typical person to purchase a home. It'll mean that the rich will get richer and the poor will remain wherever they are. So is it a good strategy? Yes. It depends on where you are in that socioeconomic status. You know? Is it a bad thing? Yeah, I guess so. For those of you who don't have a flawless credit score, or you guys don't have the abilities to put down a huge down payment. But you know, in all honesty, there's so many people out there that are trying to get into real estate. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. You have people fucking stealing their parents' money after they died. Trying to get into shit like that. But now it makes it harder. Now it makes it harder. Like, so I mean, personally, I don't care, you know. Personally, I don't care with the type of walk that I walk, with the path that I'm walking on. It doesn't bother me. It ain't gonna affect me. But for those who are aspiring to be millionaires, well, you know, if you never come from money, then you ain't gonna generate no money. Pretty much it. Yeah. And if you bought a home and you're renting it, just know that might be the very fucking first and last home you're gonna rent if China decides to sell their MBAs. Is it a genius plan? Fucking yeah, it is. It's a genius plan. But it also means that capitalism reigns supreme. Capitalism reigns supreme. Now, personally, I don't care whether it goes left or right. Ain't gonna affect me. Because, I mean, my ambitions aren't all that great. I mean, I am not ambitious to, you know, this is just for you guys to know, you know. So, I mean, the tariff game is great. I think it's awesome, honestly. 145, 125, keep jacking it up. The person who drops the tariff is going to be a loser. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to call your shot. And quite frankly, I think if they were to sell the MBA, sell our debt, it'll give us ownership of that debt if they sell it to us. You know, if they sell it back to us, then that would be great. We can take ownership of our own debt and what is that? We can, what's that? If you don't understand the whole bank system, then you ain't gonna understand this. You're not gonna understand this. If you don't understand the bank system, then you're not gonna understand the whole selling of the U.S. debt and how it would work, and how it's a threat but not really. If they sell the NBA, it's a threat but not really. It depends on what class, socioeconomic class you're at. You know, and honestly, personally, I think if President Trump, you know, if he increases the tariffs and they sell the U.S. debt, I don't think it'll affect too many people in the upper class, in the middle upper class. It'll affect people who are on the lower end, but and that's going to be a very, very sad situation and sad scenario. But is it a genius plan? Fuck yeah. Yeah, it is. It is, because you see two major powers going up against each other in this financial war. You know, this economic war. It is the shit if you really think about it. And we being on top with 145% tariffs and they're trailing behind with 125%. Think about it. Although they bought our debt, what did we do in return? We fucking made them rich. All their products, we were buying it. Matter of fact, I think if anything, I mean, although they bought our debts, they got rich off of us by selling all their products here. So I think the whole tariff, I know a lot of financial institutions are like, don't have this tariff war. But if you just trust the process, you're going to find out, okay, the only ones that are going to say don't have the tariff war is the ones that aren't banking already. You know, if you're banking and you're up there and you're a capitalist, You want to have this tariff war. Because one, you want to make sure that the person that you're having the tariff war in, as far as the economic war, knows who the real capitalists are. You know, where capitalism actually reigns supreme. This is not just the typical tariff war and economic bullshit war. This is something else. And I do think that raising the tariffs, although some may see how it could harm, it's actually going to benefit us. It's going to benefit us. Because one, you want to win. You want to win this tariff war. You don't want to be the person to be dropping the prices because everybody's panicking around you. No, don't do that. Don't do that because it's going to affect our mortgage loans. Are U.S. debt? U.S. debt my fucking eye. If you understand the bank system, you understand really the bank system, then you will understand that U.S. debt that they bought. And if you don't understand finances, then well, it's too bad. Sorry, it sucks to be you right now, because I don't have time to be explaining this. Go watch Luke Belmar or something. Then he can break it down for you, perhaps, if it's still up. I don't know, but this is not something that you should be discouraging our president from doing. He knows what the hell he's doing. He's doing it very well. Now, he knows what he's doing. Just trust the process. See, everything's going to fall back into place. Just hold on. There's something else besides that before you guys get all strung up on the, oh my God, the mortgage rates are going to go up and it's going to be so hard to get a house. Trust the freaking process, all right? Trust the process. Who are the capitalists? If you know that answer, then you shouldn't be worrying about it. You should just go with the flow and just wait. Somebody gonna give in. Because I'll tell you what, if they don't give in, guess what happens? A lot of the sales and the money come from here. How many of your asses have made in China products? And how many times did you have to buy that same product made in China? That's how many times they turned a profit off of that. How many of you guys bought that bootleg fucking shoe from China? How many times did you buy that fucking bootleg shoe? Once a year? Did I hear once or 3 times a year? That's how much profit they turned around off of that one product. And it's a continuous thing. It's a continuous thing. And if you look at the conversion, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. So don't get all crazy nuts about, oh my God, bring the Lord down the tariffs because the cost of to buy a house is going to go up. Just roll with it. Just roll with it. Somebody's going to give in soon, because somebody wants to make money. And who's the money man? U.S. It's always been that. We buy shit. We are buyers. We're consumers. That's why we fucking broke. It's in our nature to be consumers. How many? Oh gosh, fucking consumers. They can be broke, and they're still gonna be a consumer. So the tariff war, I wouldn't even worry about it. Just let it fucking increase. Let it go up to 200. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll only mean that we can buy products from here, or we can buy products from India. Their enemy. India sells cheap ass shit. I wouldn't even worry about it. Either we can buy things from China, or we can step to the side and buy shit from India. Somebody's going to drop their tariff. Because how many things that are invaluable do we produce here in the U.S.? We rarely produce shit. We're more consumers, if anything. But whatever we do produce, it has major value to it. So with that, kind of put two and two together. I always leave you guys with a verse or a passage. Today I'm going to leave you guys with a verse, not a passage. I always normally leave you guys with a passage. Yeah, it's late. So the passage I leave with you all is from the book of Wisdom, chapter 7, verse 1. I too am immortal, the same as all the rest, and the descendant of the first one formed of earth. And in my mother's womb, I was molded into flesh. I too am immortal, the same as all the rest, and the descendant of the first one formed of earth. And in my mother's womb, I was molded into flesh. So you're probably wondering why Pink Crochet Away are you choosing that verse? It's so non-relevant. It is. It's relevant. We have all these ethnic wars breaking out, and we have all this discrimination and prejudice surfacing, and it's been around forever. But in this one verse, it kills every single one of those ethnic issues and every single one of those discriminatory perspectives and all that racism, in every form, in every way, in every whatever you may think of it. I too am immortal, the same as all the rest, and the descendant of the first one formed of the earth. And in my mother's womb I was molded into flesh. Which one of you out there who are hating on the other was not too born immortal? Which one of you are not a descendant of the first one formed of the earth? To dust you were created, to dust you shall return. Which one of you were not formed in your mother's womb and molded into flesh? There's going to be a time when there will be someone who will not be molded in their mother's womb, but that time is not now. And even when that time does come, you are still created by dust, and to dust you shall return. So before you all hate one another, and before we have all this prejudice and discrimination, and before you have all of these things, these feelings of hatred towards another person, your brother and your sister, because basically that's what we are all. We have two genders, you're male or you're female, and when you look at the other, you're gonna look at a brother or a sister, because we all came from the same element. We are formed from from dust we were created, and dust we shall return. We are all flesh. We are all flesh, and we will all die. We were all born of a mother's womb, and we all will die. And the last thing you want to do in this lifetime is waste that precious time that you have fighting amongst each other because of ethnic issues, religious issues, prejudices and shit, and schisms, whatever isms. It makes no fucking sense. You know, there's a whole world out there with so many beautiful natural phenomena and things to see and things to experience, and the last thing you want to do is create boundaries and barriers for yourself. Did you know that when you hate someone, you create a barrier for yourself? Not for them, for you. They're creating their own barriers. When you hate someone, you generally create a barrier for yourself, and that's why I don't like to hate people. I don't want to place barriers around me. When you hate people, you place a barrier around you. Okay, example, you're probably wondering, what? Yeah, you fucking create a barrier around you. Now tell me, okay, let me just, the two most obvious examples. You have Free Palestine, right? So you have the, I want to call them Assyrians, but they're not. Fucking barbarians. You're a Syrian, motherfucker. But these barbarians. Only some will get that joke. So they have a culture, right? And then you have, I don't want to keep using them as an example, because I have to also be, sensitive too. I don't want to put anybody on the spot here, but nope, that's not a good idea. Oh, okay, yeah, I got one. So, China versus America. Okay, we're kind of frenemies, all right, but we're trying to make peace together, right? But this is one that was, so you have this ethnic division between China and America, right? But China sees that America has really great French fries and hamburgers, and they want to try it. And America sees the freaking chow mein. The chow mein and the orange chicken. If they hate each other, you think they can try it? No. But they know they got good stuff, right? Both of them got something good. Got something that they want. They want to try it. It looks yummy. Man, that yum sauce looks yummy. And man, that animal sauce on those fries look yummy. I want to try it. But they can't. Why? Because they hate each other. I'm not saying this is a real scenario, all right? Because, China, they come, because we have, I'm just using it as an example, okay? Hypothetical example. But they can't try one another's diverse ethnic meals or foods or whatever, because they hate each other in this hypothetical fucking scenario. They hate each other, so they're not going to try each other's food because of that hatred. That's a barrier. Okay, so that is called a barrier. I am creating a barrier against someone who has something interesting because I have an issue, a petty fucking issue. If you have hatred for someone, that's basically all you're doing, is creating a barrier because you cannot get to know the person that you hate. And then when you make it obvious that you hate them, even more so, you can't break that barrier because you made it an issue not just to you and your tribe, or not just to you and your friends, but to the rest of everyone else who's observing. Most often, peace is probably a better choice. If you can't live in peace together, then live in peace separate from each other, so you guys don't see what the other has. You know what I'm saying? And then get tempted to try and take it, because that's how wars start. But if you remember that every one of us, we're all mortals. We are all made from the same descendant. We are descendants of the same first person. We all come from the earth. From dust we came, to dust we will return. And we all came from a mother's womb, which molded us into flesh. Do not waste your life hating people. Break the barriers so that you can actually enjoy other things. And not falling into the pits of Babylon, the Tower of Babel, okay? We don't want to fall into the pits of the Tower of Babel, because if we can all communicate and all get along, then mankind has this fucked up thing where we just get our asses in trouble. You don't have to create too many barriers of hatred. Hatred creates barriers. You can live in peace amongst each other without even interacting with each other. Kind of just mind your own damn business. You know what I'm saying? Or be fair. But whenever you're dealing with people, especially when it comes to, whenever you're dealing with anyone, just remember that, you're immortal and so are they. You're actually the same. We're all the same. We just got different skin color and a different different eating styles, but it's because it's environmental. Environmental. The skin, our skin color is environmental. Our hair color, environmental. Our foods, environmental. But naturally, we all want the same thing. You know, everybody wants the same thing. We all want to be happy. We all want to raise families. We all, I mean, like, basically everybody wants to be happy and live in peace. Really. There's so many things out there to enjoy. If you keep creating hate, if you keep holding on to hatred, you will never be able to enjoy the beauty that God created in this natural world. You know, you're not going to be able to enjoy what God created for us, for mankind, because you're going to be too busy hating each other because of differences that don't even matter. Like skin color fucking don't matter, really. Because, I mean, in the spirit, we're not even the same skin color. We don't even look the same. Like, can you imagine that? If a person was hating on someone because their skin color, and then they die, and then they find out, oh my God, I'm that person, I'm that skin color. I mean, it's silly. It sounds silly. But if you look if you read the New Testament, when Mary went to the tomb and she was crying and weeping, she also didn't recognize Jesus. She didn't recognize Jesus because in the spirit, Jesus did not look like the person he was in real life. Not real life, but in the natural. When he was in the natural, he looked one way. When he was in the spirit, he looked another way. She didn't even recognize who he was. He had to let her know that he was who he was. So for us to go around fighting amongst each other because of, you know, ethnicities, skin color, looks, the only thing that really genuinely matters is your personality and your attitude, honestly. That's what really should matter. Because in the spirit, like I just said, Yeshua did not look like how he looked like in the natural when he was before being crucified and before death, before rising from the dead. He looked like a totally different person. And he will look so different that Mary did not his mother Mary, but Mary Magdalene, she didn't recognize him. She couldn't recognize him because he was a totally different person in the spirit. And he had to let her know, hey, it's me. It's me, Yeshua. It's me, Yeshua. Yeah, it's me. So fighting over petty things like, you know, how a person looks, whether they're white, whether they're black, whether they're brown, whether they're yellow, I think that's one of them, red, all kinds of fucking colors. But fighting with people because of their skin color, their hair color, it makes no sense, really. Because bottom line is, to dust we came from, to dust we shall return. Every one of us. To dust we came from, and to dust we shall return. And the more evil you do, if a person does a lot of evil, like fucking Hamas evil, just know, if you look, Hamas and freaking Hitler wasn't too different, the shit that they did. But I guess a warning would be, Hitler lost his motherfucking mind. Hitler lost his fucking mind. And if a person keeps doing evil deeds and not valuing life, you're gonna see a record of people who do evil things like that, and they lose their fucking mind. Like, they go crazy, like mental health, fucking lose their mind. Because we're not created to harm one another, and we're not created to do evil to one another. We're not created to kill and maliciously kill and not revere life. We were created out of love. Therefore, that's our superpower. Love. We can do anything through love. We can overcome anything through love. But hatred, that's not of us. That's not of us. And that's why a person who does evil deeds out of hatred will lose their mind. They will lose their fucking mind, because it's not part of us. We were not created out of hatred. We were created out of love. So that would be our superpower. That's where we flourish, in love. When you hate people, and when you continue to hate people, and you continue to and you try to destroy them, that's when you will self-destruct. Because we were never meant to hate. We were always meant to love. So with that, love away, people. Break the barriers. Break the barriers and love one another so that there can be more peace. You can either take it or leave it. And yeah, it's getting kind of late. I give you guys an hour of my life, my breath, my time. Love, peace, and aloha.